Hey guys, this is Andrea with No Bugs Given, and today is going to be a budget with me video. If you are new, hello, so glad that you were able to join. Today is just going to be an easy peasy day where I go over the budget and see what the forecast is going to be like for the next couple weeks. This is for the second paycheck for May, so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get you all zoomed in and then we'll be right back. Okay, and we are back. So today should be pretty straightforward. I didn't have any extra mileage reimbursement, and I did not I don't think I was short on any hours, but if you are new, I get paid bi-weekly, and then I do a little bit of hybrid cash budgeting where a good majority, or I try to put a good majority of my remaining funds towards my high yield savings account, and then I take out some cash for my variable expenses. But we will go ahead and get started. So for the paycheck, like I said, I think because nothing special or crazy was happening this particular coming paycheck, I am going to put my paycheck to be for $1,263.75. Fun news, Carly from Budget with Carly had a giveaway, or she has like her Thirsty Thursday video, and I won. And so I had won $10 from Budget with Carly, and that is going to be going towards my self-care to kind of make up for the mess up that I did with the last sinking fund review and budget. Again, my self-care sinking fund isn't too much a priority right now, but the $10 from Carly will be going to that, so thank you so much, Carly. For savings challenges, if you watched my prop swap video, there wasn't too much that I was able to trade out to put to my high yield savings account, but I was able to save $30 for the past couple weeks. And then my credit card cash, so if you had watched my last two weekly check-ins, I did a lot of spending, and with that I just take the money out from my variable expenses and then put it in a special little envelope for when I'm ready to pay off my credit card, and so that totaled to be $129. So if I am doing the math, I know that there's been a couple times when I had flubbed on the math, and so let's see if I can get it right this time. If you are new, I am also super skilled with the calculator. Total should be $1,432.75. So that is correct. I was trying to be better about making sure that I had the right numbers, but you know what? Who knows? I can still mess up in this video. We shall see. Bills. So for bills, in my utilities bucket, currently right now we have $355 in there, and we try to keep at least about $300. I think Jake makes his deposit to that bucket once a month, and I do mine with every paycheck. So right now we're about $355, and so I'm going to put for the budget to be, or I'm going to put for our paycheck to deposit my paycheck, I'm going to deposit $87.62. And one other thing, if you are new, I have this really weird thing where I like to have things end in a 0 or a 5. I don't know why. I just have extra time, I guess. But I'll show the math as far as how I got those numbers. As far as bills go, the ones that are going to be pulled from the utilities bucket will be our internet bill. This will have no effect on the actual budget itself, but this will be deducted from the $355 when the automatic payment set in. So the internet would be $60, and then the water, I don't know why the water is so much. Our water is $122.62. And so if we get the $355 plus the $87.62, and then I subtract the $60 for the internet and then the $122.62, that'll leave me with $260, but that should be fine because the next time that Jake makes his deposit, we'll be back over our $300. We try to at least keep $300 as like a buffer. So there's that. Another bill that I have coming up is going to be the car insurance. So while we are while we're planning on merging our accounts, we still transfer funds to each other to pay, because he takes care of the auto insurance and then I take care of the utilities. And so for my car insurance, it'll be $56. And I am so happy because Jake worked very hard to lowering that. I have no idea how he did, other than making sure that he made as many calls as he did to make sure that we got good rates. And then I think he talked to one person who talked to another person. And so before, this used to be higher, but thankfully Jake was able to bring it down for both of us because we're on the same policy. So for the bills, let's see what I'm going to be putting away. 87.62 plus 56 is going to be 143.62. So let me just get that down here. And that's pretty much it for the bills for this particular pay period. Let's go on to expenses. So this is where my variable expenses come into play. For food, I'm going to give myself the $200 budget I like to stick to, and I'd like to think that I made a good prediction into the next couple weeks. So that way what happened this last 2 weeks doesn't happen again. But I'm going to really stick to it. One person had a question on one of my earlier videos asking how was it that I came to figuring out what the numbers would be for each of these envelopes, and I'm contemplating making a how I made my budget video, if anybody might find that helpful or interesting. It took a long time. It took months and months of just readjusting the budget. It didn't happen overnight. But if that's something that you'd like to see as far as like how that came about, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, for food, on a normal budget or a normal couple weeks, I found that I didn't really spend more than $200 between the 2 weeks, and so that's more or less how I got to it. But if you want some other details, let me know. For household, this is going to be pretty simple. I do think that we might need some other stuff for the house. I can't think of anything at the top of my head, but I feel like we might need some either dish soap or something that's just, something that we usually buy in bulk at Costco, like the big huge sizes, and then we just refill. But I feel like we might be running out of dish soap soon, so might need to get something like that. Personal spending, I am going to give myself $90. And for those that are new, sorry, I keep on going back between for those that have been around for a little while and for those that are new, it's so 90 could sound like a lot to some other budgeters, but a good majority of the time, almost all of it goes to savings challenges on a good 2-week period. But if not, then I'll use it for any of my personal needs. But I'm pretty good about not going and tapping into the personal stuff. So I'll give myself 90. For miscellaneous, this is going to be our buffer. That's going to just be $25. That always pretty much usually works for us in case we need it. And then for gas, right now my gas, I guess, bucket is currently sitting at, let's see, because I'm gonna put in $35.73 because that's how much I spent. So usually I like to keep 60 in there. So if I take the $35.73, that means right now I currently would have $24.27. That sounds right. And so for my gas bucket, I usually just like to keep at least $60 in there. And then whenever I do use it, I just use my Paycheck to replenish it. And I should be good for the next couple weeks. I'm still at like almost a full tank. I don't really drive too far for work. And then, everything's within a really close distance to us where we don't have to be driving all around town. And so for the expenses, it should be a number that I can't think of at the top of my head, but it's a good thing I have this trusty calculator. So for my expenses, it is looking to be like $361.73. So easy peasy. And I'm going to show how much money I'll need based off of the cash that I have on hand, and just kind of subtract that from what I need below, not including the gas. So let's move on to the seeking funds. These are my favorite. So for sinking funds, one of the first sinking funds that I have is for my auto. This is for any auto repairs, or if my car does good, and it lasts me without having requiring any big huge I guess maintenance or repairs done to it. It could also just be like just building up my down payment for a newer vehicle, not necessarily new, but new to me. And I was actually, I think it was on it was on Fiona's channel where she's starting to save up for her auto or vehicle sinking fund. And my car just hit 100,000 miles, so it's still in pretty good working condition, but I wanted to try and get, what I can to this. And right now it's not too much of a priority. And so for auto, it will be getting its usual like $20, I think it is. I can't remember what I do, but for auto, I have a decent amount in the sinking fund right now where if anything were to happen, it's a pretty decent buffer. But for now, it will get $20. The next one is going to be our Christmas, or I say our because I split with Jake on most, if not almost everything. And so for the Christmas/gift fund, this will be getting $44.63. I'm contemplating if I want to put down what the current balance is along with the sinking funds, but I don't know. I kind of do like having the sinking fund review at the end of the month to show everything, but random tangent, my bad. But Christmas will get $44.63. Household, this is kind of like more for the future, so kind of just getting the mindset that when we do have our first home, setting aside that money and being comfortable with not having it, because we already have it allocated to something. So this is more kind of like a proactive sinking fund. And right now, I try to put around $80 or $85 every paycheck towards it. So that one has a pretty nice buffer, or, pretty nice amount in the bucket. Lillian, Lily, because she did so much spending, oh my gosh, she made the credit card go on fire. Because she had a good tune-up, and then we got her bulk supply of food, which lasts her about 2 to 3 months, usually about 2 months. I want to make sure that her sinking fund doesn't drop down too much. So she gets a lot of love this time. She's going to get $120.18. So good for you, girl. Medical. Oh, I still need to figure out what to do with this bill I got, because it was a text message saying that I had an amount due, but it wasn't from the place where I had my, what was it for? The anesthesia. It wasn't for, oh gosh, what was it? The anesthesia had to have been for the endoscopy that I had, but it wasn't with the place that I had the endoscopy done at. It was just like some random name that I wasn't familiar with. And so I called the place where I had the endoscopy done, and then I called the actual physician's office that performed it, because it was like the center and then the physician. So there was those two separate bills. But the last thing I need to do is get in touch with the insurance to see if the name and the person who performed the anesthesia, the anesthesiologist, sorry, to see if it matches with what they, billed out to my insurance and whatnot, because I just didn't feel comfortable. It was like it was a text message saying like, hey, you owe us money, click on this link. And with so much scams going on nowadays, I wasn't really feeling comfortable just sending out a payment to an entity that I wasn't really familiar with. And so I just need to do a little bit more research before I just willingly give more money. All that to say, medical has been a big priority, but because Lillian is also a big priority, she gets a good majority of what is going into the sinking funds, and then I'll just stick with my 90 to medical. And then once I figured out whether or not this bill is fake or not, I'll figure out another game plan to see if I need to put more money towards the medical. Self-care. So self-care will be getting an extra $10 thanks to Carly. And then I want to kind of get myself back into shape of making my account and in either a 0 or a 5. So that one will get $23.03. And then I think that should be it. Nothing for vacation, just because I did not save as much as I did these past couple weeks, just between the $30 and the $10 from Carly. I try to make it at 100, but and then also I want to make sure that Lily's sinking fund doesn't get too low. And so let's see what we got. We got 20, 44, 63, and 80, and 120, 18, plus 90, and then 2303 is 377.84 for the sinking funds. And for fun, to make me feel better, I'm going to do a total of the sinking funds with the savings to see how much I put away this paycheck, because that will make me feel better. Let's move on to savings. So for savings, it's going to be the standard stuff. So for our emergency sinking fund, this one, it gets enough. I feel like we have a good amount in there for right now. So that will keep up with its 45 or 40 that I try to put away. For the wedding coming up next year, oh man, that is going to come by so fast. We started planning out. We have a photographer now, and then we booked the place where we're going to have the ceremony, and then we also booked the place where we want to have like a post-wedding get together with our friends out here, just because we both live out of state. And so that's we're doing, I think the only thing we need left to book is the place where we're going to go to dinner after the wedding ceremony. And then we're going to have a couple parties, one in my home state and one in Jake's home state, but those are going to be a little bit more relaxed, so not too worried about those ones. But for the wedding, I tried to put away 240, and then Jake has his own savings account, so when the time comes for us to pay for everything, we're just going to have our money to put towards it. Retirement. So for this one, I just have the money get deducted from, it's kind of similar to the gas one, I just have it get deducted from the savings account or bucket, whatever you want to call it, once a month. And so I think it takes out 270, and so I just put in half of it every paycheck, so that means that it will get the 135. So if I do the math for this should be easy math, but I need to get practice with my calculator because I am such a professional. 420. So if we get the 420 plus the 377.84, $797.84 of what I'm putting from my paycheck towards savings and sinking funds. I am happy with that. And if you are new, I normally don't put a dollar amount away towards savings challenges. It's just whatever I have available in my sinking funds to help fund those savings challenges. So I just do it a little bit differently. I like to put as much money as I can towards my high yield savings account because I love the interest. So usually that's the reason why I save with lower amounts compared to like other channels that you might be familiar with, but it works for me. And this was just kind of like off like couple weeks, but circumstances were a little bit different, but no regrets. Last is going to be credit card. So for my credit card, again, I had some pretty heavy spending. I used the credit card and I had a balance of 128.80. So then if you look at the cash that I put aside from my variable expenses to go towards the credit card, that will cover what is left owed to the credit card. So what I'll do is when I get paid, I just transfer the money to their appropriate buckets, savings accounts, credit cards, what have you, and then I use the money to put the money back into my variable expenses. And then I'll see how much, I think I mentioned that before, I'll see how much I have to take out from the bank this week. Okay, so in total, let's go over the summary. So for the total income, it was $1432.75. Bills was going to be $143.62. Sinking funds is going to be $377.84, expenses is going to be $361.73. Savings is going to be $420, and then the credit card is going to be $128.80. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and grab the total of this 140. $1,432.75. 143.62, 377.84, 361.73, 420, 128.80. So that leaves me with a whopping 76 cents for rollover. And one of the things, so for the rollover, I don't think I really explained too much what I do with the rollover. So the rollover goes to the high yield savings account too, and it just kind of sits like in this like little space that does not exist or have anything to do with it. But I use this, funny enough, I just realized that it kind of worked out. It gets used towards to help pay for my membership that I have with GB over at Income Babes. My membership is like $2 and some change. So for every paycheck, for every like, cents or whatever that it might be that gets deposited into that, it just basically covers it. So that's pretty much what happens with that rollover. Not necessarily a zero-based budget because it doesn't, equal out to zero, but that 76 cents does have a purpose. So what I'll do is I'll get you zoomed out and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, be right back. And we are back. So that is essentially what the budget's going to be looking like. No changes to the variable expenses. I'm just gonna wish myself luck that I'm able to stay within budget this time. Again, I don't anticipate anything crazy going on or anything exciting, but we do still have the buffer, and if needed, we'll make it work. But that's all I have for today, friends. I hope this was helpful in some sort of way, if anything at all, or if not, just mildly entertaining. But I hope to see you guys in the next one, and I hope that you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're at. But take care, guys. Okay, see you in the next one. Bye.